Mr. Moshood Tijani, who is the head monitoring and evaluation of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. You know, there are many who will talk about, look, how have the states, have they been frugal with their funds, or what? Have they been just using the money the way they ought not to? But many will also wonder, your role as fiscal responsibility is to ensure prudent management of resources. Where has the commission been all this while, to the extent that there was no notification whatsoever, or if there were, many didn't see it, before the governors ran into this hitch?
Good morning. The issue of states' finances is quite very dicey. It's not as straight as people want us to believe. The Fiscal Responsibility Act, as we presently have it right now, operates more at the federal level. The only aspect that we concentrate on as far as the states are concerned is the debt and borrowing aspect of it. So what we as a commission, we've been trying to do over the years is to encourage the states to actually domesticate this Fiscal Responsibility Act as suggested in the act itself. The situation would have been different if the act were to be applicable to all the tiers of our government. The way things are right now, most of the problems have to do with budget process and implementation. As it is, our responsibility is more towards monitoring and implementing the federal government budget. There are quite a few states who have actually domesticated this act at state levels, but just like we also experience at the federal level, the implementation of the act is not total. It's not as it should be.
Just a minute. Let's get something sorted out first and foremost. You're saying that Fiscal Responsibility Act is not domesticated in all the states of the
No, I didn't say that.
What are you saying?
There are 7 states that have domesticated this act
7.
right now.
I'm sorry, I can't make out what you're saying. Did you say 7 states, or how many states?
There are about 7 states.
Could you name them for us?
This act right now.
Could you name those states?
I can name a few of them. There is Kwara State, there is Ekiti State, there is a Taraba State, Niger State, Kebbi State, Ebonyi State, and I think one other state.
So if a state doesn't domesticate the act, your commission cannot act in that particular state. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, so in these states that have domesticated the act where you have been functioning, first of all, let us ask, what has been the reluctance of the other states to domesticate the Fiscal Responsibility Act?
I think it has to do with the kind of fiscal federalism we practice in this country. In other climes, you discover that an act of this nature, should be applicable throughout all the tiers of government. But in Nigeria, because of the particular situation we have, states are only being encouraged to domesticate the act. We really have to encourage them. So if they don't, because the act in section 17 encourages the states to have the act in place. So what we do in terms of advocacy is to actually get to these states and then let them know the benefits of having the act.
So you're saying there's a reluctance because the states believe that there's federalism, and as such, yours will seem as a federal commission, and they believe that it should operate perhaps at the federal level and leave the states alone. Is that the thinking?
That is the thinking, because they don't see, it's like they don't see us trying to force this law onto them.
So in the states where you have been domesticated, how have you been functioning?
The states have independent fiscal responsibility commissions. So they are not directly under our control.
Okay, so as a commission, you work mostly with the federal government and its agencies and parastatals. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, so then do you also work with the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Commission?
No. The functions are quite, are different. We are more concerned about budget process and its implementation.
Okay. Your commission works closely with the Special Advisor on Monitoring and Evaluation, correct?
Not exactly.
Okay. So what exactly is the role of your commission?
Okay. What we do in the main is to make sure that the Act, that is the FRA 2007, is implemented as desired. That is, to make sure that government resources are prudently managed, to make sure that whatever funds appropriated in the budget are utilized for what it was appropriated for. And the Act states in section 11 to 14 or 16 thereabout about the processes required before you even get to the annual budget preparation, like you're talking of MTEP. Because according to the Act, the budget of the Federation has to be based on the medium-term expenditure framework. So we liaise with the Ministry of Finance and government agencies to make sure that budgets are properly formulated, and once approved, we make sure that we follow the implementation through the quarterly budget implementation reports.
So the Act was promulgated in 2007. Your commission, when exactly did it come into existence?
The commission came into being December 2008.
So we can take it that for about 5 years, roughly, you have been in existence. How effective would you say you have been able to play a role in such a way that Nigerians do know that there is the existence of such a commission and these are the functions that it plays?
Yeah. One thing that I want to mention here clearly is that it is through the establishment of this commission that budgets are being prepared under a strict medium-term expenditure framework. Until the commission started, budgets were based on annual rolling plan, and there were so many discretions in the budget process. But now we have a set of rules that must guide the budget process. The other aspect that we focus more on the issue of revenue generation by federal government agencies. We have commissions and other MDAs.
Very quickly here, it would seem as if the names are the list you've just given to us of states that states under your watch are those states that haven't been on the bad light since we've been talking about payment of salaries. Take us through your advice and monitoring of these states that have domesticated this into their laws. When you go to such states, what are the interactions like with such states?
Let me correct one impression here. The states are not directly under our watch. We are independent of the state's fiscal responsibility commissions. So what we do is to have a kind of cooperation. That is, we could advise them if they so desire.
If they so desire?
Yes.
Even for the states that have domesticated the same law?
The reason...
It really doesn't sound good then.
What I'm trying to say here is that the implementation of the acts are independent of what happens at the federal level, which I think is a fundamental flaw in the fiscal responsibility law in this country itself.
Now, if you recognize it as a fundamental flaw, what did the Commission do, knowing full well that this is of national interest to everyone? Did you try to perhaps make note and pass this to the executive and see if they can liaise with the legislative arm?
Yes, we've actually compiled a kind of amendment to the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007. And as we speak, I think that was being considered by the 7th House of Assembly before, the election. I would reveal that once the 8th Assembly, settles down, they will pick that, amendment and pass it into law.
Yeah, but I mean, we've spent so long in terms of talking about what your commission does. The thing now is, we seem to be in a quandary as a nation. The question is, did your commission see this coming, and what did you do to avert it?
That is looking at the states. In May this year, in collaboration with a civil service organization, we had a kind of a national forum of fiscal responsibility commissions where we try to highlight some of these issues and why the states need to have fiscal responsibility commissions or act domesticated at the state level. We are in the process of actually having a fiscal responsibility council, which will bring together all the states that have domesticated this act, so that we can actually rub minds and see exactly what happens at those states, and then offer constructive advice as to what should happen at the states.